You and I have talked about this before. You agree with the presidential candidate, certainly, that this is number one priority. Is it sufficient, though? If he could really fix the virus, is that enough to get the jobs back that we need?
No, but you can't get the jobs back until you do. And that's a big contrast between him and the president. The president never has understood, and I don't think ever will, that in order to fix the economy, you really do have to fix the pandemic because it's such a drag on everything. After you fix the pandemic, then you have to do all the things that are necessary. Start investing in infrastructure, start bringing those jobs back, start looking at the tax code and incenting people to build here and to make things here, and you'll start to grow the economy. Giving workers a chance to increase their wages, David, because remember, our economy is 72% driven by consumer spending. So when workers have more money in their pocket, they can spend. That spending creates demand. That demand creates jobs. And so that's the virtuous cycle upward rather than the vicious cycle downward that we've been in for a while.
So, Richard, we still have, I think it's 74 days left to go to November 3rd. We got to think about what's going on between now and then. We just got new jobless claims numbers in, which were higher, above 1 million. I think it was 1.4 million or something like that. What do we need to do to get some of the jobs addressed right now before we wait for November 3rd?
Well, first of all, people are hurting out there. And I really think it's horrible that Mitch McConnell took the Senate and went on a 3-week vacation and left people holding the bag. The $600 a week unemployment extension expired. The hazard pay expired. A number of things that would help workers expired. They need to pass the HEROES Act. The HEROES Act is of the size that'll meet the problem that we have, because the problem we have is enormous, just enormous. And so passing the HEROES Act will start that. It'll give us a standard, health and safety standard to protect those workers that are still on the job, mandate that they have to have proper PPE that they're still fighting for. In some instances, we have to supply it for them because they can't get it elsewhere. It will help state and local governments. It will help the school system so we can actually open up the schools. It will do all of those things plus more, help with health care, the people that are losing their health care. The HEROES Act really should be passed. And it's been on Mitch McConnell's desk for, I think, 95 days right now, and he's done nothing.
So you've been steadfast in that position, Richard. Would you take half a HEROES Act or something less than half a HEROES Act? Because right now there's talk that maybe Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi is considering, let's take part of it now, come back for more later. And some moderate members of her caucus reportedly are asking for just that. Would that work for your members, understanding you want to come back later for more?
Well, here's what it would do. Instead of having 12 months of unemployment insurance, it'd give us 6. So would we go with that? Yes, we would go with that because we'd have 6 months of people not suffering. Right now, people are suffering. They're being evicted. They're having their utilities turned off in high numbers because they don't have the resources to do that. So we would work on that. Nancy actually, Speaker Pelosi actually made that proposal that she would go. They were at $3 trillion. The Republicans were at $1 trillion. Go to $2 trillion and come to a deal. They said no.
So that's in the short term, and the short term is terribly important for the reasons you identify. There are people really hurting out there, not being able to pay their bills. Let's go to the longer term now. Also in Vice President, now presidential candidate Biden's remarks last night, he very specifically said he wanted, on his administration, if it comes to pass, really to support organized labor. What does that mean in practice?
Well, first of all, look in this economy right now, David, there's inequality. But when we talk about inequality, most people think it's just wages and wealth. But there's also inequality of opportunity. And both of those are driven by inequality of power. Corporations are too strong because the laws are antiquated. They were made in the 1940s. We're still living under those laws. So we have to rebalance that power. When you rebalance that power, workers will get a chance to negotiate for a better share of what they produce. And instead of inequality growing, inequality will begin to shrink and the middle class will begin to prosper again. That's what he means. To do that, you have to pass the PRO Act. That would change the laws and give us a fair chance to have a voice on the job. You have to change the tax laws. President Trump's tax laws, there's a provision in it that actually encourages outsourcing. It rewards companies who build things offshore. We have to reverse that. We have to do a number of other things, and he's committed to doing all of those things. A manufacturing priority. Because remember, when you lose manufacturing, you don't just lose the factory, you lose all the R&D that goes with it. And that's been our strength. We've been able to develop products and get in front of everybody else. That goes bye-byes. We can bring that back, and he's committed to doing that.